I've been cooking for 3+ decades at this point, and while I don't have any formal training, I feel like a pretty confident home chef. There are a few things I've been avoiding, though, that are conspicuously absent from my repertoire, and I've decided that this fall is a great time to start practicing. 2 of them go very well together, and we're going to start with those 2 today. One of them is bread, and the other is butter. I hope you'll stick with me. Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Today we're making a couple of recipes that could go really any way. I'm not certain that either of them really will turn out, if I'm honest with you, which is part of the reason I've been avoiding them for like my whole life. But I thought it might be useful to show you the mistakes that I make in this process as I teach myself how to become better at bread and how to make butter for the very first time ever. That's not actually true. I have made butter unintentionally a couple of times when I've whipped cream too far, but I'm not gonna count that. We're gonna try to make butter on purpose today. This bread recipe is someone else's recipe, of course, and it actually started a couple days ago. I figured a good way to start on the bread journey would be to actually do a no-knead style bread, and this one seems to be kind of a crowd pleaser, so I thought that I would start there. So I actually started about 5 days ago with this bread, and it's been in my fridge since then. Let me take you back to a few days ago and show you what I did. So this recipe is incredibly simple. It'll be linked in the description box below. All it entails is combining some ingredients, storing them on the counter for about 12 to 24 hours, and then storing them in the fridge for 3 to 5 days. So that's exactly what we did. 5 days is about the limit, and we are there. It definitely rose initially, instant yeast, so I saw a rise from it in that initial time that it was sitting on the counter, but it hasn't done much since then in the fridge. I don't know if this is what it's supposed to look like or not, but I figure we're gonna give it a try anyway. So the next step of this recipe is just to turn it out onto a floured surface, gather it a couple times into like a loaf shape, and then we're gonna let it rise at room temperature for a couple of hours. And while that's happening, we're gonna make some butter. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started following the recipe as closely as I can. So well-floured surface, and then just gonna turn this bread dough out. So I think I'm just gathering it and trying to make a loaf shape. I don't even know what that means, but I'm tucking underneath. That feels like a loaf shape. So I'm gonna put it into a different bowl. This bowl is gonna get cleaned off, but I think I want to oil this bowl just a little bit. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of olive oil on the bowl. Spread that around with my fingers. Get a little bit on this guy. There we go. I'm gonna let this sit at room temperature for a couple of hours. It said minimum of 2, maximum of 4. So on my counter it goes. On to the butter. Okay, this method, from what I've read, is actually really simple. We're just gonna whip the heck out of this heavy whipping cream. When it starts to separate and you get something more solid and something more liquid, we're going to put that into a strainer and squeeze out as much of that buttermilk as we can. And then we rinse the butter, and then we salt it if we want to and store it in the fridge. So it seems pretty simple. The one caution that I did receive from several different recipes was that it gets really messy when we get to the part of the butter separating out from the buttermilk. The recommendation was to have a towel that can cover the top and partway down the sides of your mixer, just to make sure that you're not wearing the butter, but we still might, you never know. Who knows what's gonna happen. So I have just a pint of cream here. I think you can make butter in kind of whatever quantity you want. There's tons of ways to do this, and not just in a stand mixer, but I figured since I've got it, I may as well let it do the work for me. So this part of the process is probably gonna be relatively boring, hopefully for all of us. Cream goes into the bowl of a stand mixer, and then we whip. So we start kind of at a lower speed until it starts to thicken up, and then we'll go to a more medium speed. And it's gonna take probably, from what I've read, 4 to 5 to 6 minutes. And so I will show you when something interesting happens. But for now, I'm just gonna whip this cream. Wish me luck. We're 3 minutes in. I'm starting to see a little bit of thickening, but it's not even really whipped cream quite yet. I did pull out a glass measuring cup. I want to see how much of this actually turns into butter, of the 2 cups, how much turns into butter and how much turns into buttermilk, just to see what the yield is. And then I've got a strainer out, but I'm going to keep going. 10 minutes in, and we finally have stiff peaks. So we're getting there, but that's taking a lot longer than I expected it to. So about 11 minutes in, we're starting to get some kind of chunky, stiffed peaks, which is exactly what we want. I resorted to putting a towel over the mixer quite a while ago because it was splashing tiny little bits of cream out. So I'm going to continue doing that, but we're going to keep going. So going to do just a little bit of a scrape down. Things are just kind of creeping their way along the sides of the bowl. This consistency is definitely getting closer to what we want. It almost looks like curdled milk. Okay, back on, keep going. "23 minutes in, I'm starting to see some separation between solids and liquids. It's turned very yellow as well. I'm gonna keep going. One minute later, we got some joy. Let me show you what's happening. You can even hear how the mixer sounds a little bit different. I think we're done. This has taken like 27 minutes in total, so the 3 to 5 minutes that King Arthur's baking promised me is not true, but it's totally fine. I think we got there in the end. So I'm gonna do the next step, which is to put it through the strainer. I'll let you know how much liquid I get from that. You can see it's just kind of one solid mass, and then the buttermilk. So, it said to press the butter against the strainer to try to get all the buttermilk out, which I think I'm doing. Yeah, this is about a cup of buttermilk, so this must be about a cup of butter. That's cool. So I'm going to rinse this now. It said to rinse the butter until the water runs clear, so I'm just gonna put it under cold water in my sink and rinse it, moving it around with my hands a little bit. We'll see. So I'm just rinsing this butter, and I'm actually not seeing that the water is running cloudy at all. It seems to be running pretty clear. So maybe we're done. And I think we have butter. Unceremoniously plop it into a bowl. That was not part of the instructions. So I'm gonna use my butter crock for this, even though it feels like maybe I have more butter than will fit. And I'm not gonna salt this butter at all. I'm just gonna leave it as is. So it did say about rinsing the butter, it said the longer you rinse it and the more of the buttermilk you get off of it, the longer your butter will last. But this butter crock is also meant for this. You put a little bit of water in the bottom of that container. There's no contact with air on the butter, so it's supposed to make it last a little bit longer, be a little bit fresher. Oh, it does look like it all fits in this. That's cool. So the true test will be how this butter does on bread. But I'm definitely gonna take a little taste now. Look at that. Nice, delicious butter. Okay, I've got a little bit left over here that I'm gonna taste. We made butter. Before I decanted it into this little crock would be the point at which you could add herbs or additional salt. I'm gonna leave it just as is, just for the sake of testing it on the bread that we will have coming out of the oven at some point in the near future. I do think I will probably sprinkle some Malden sea salt on top of that bread, just because this just tastes like very mild butter. Delicious, but pretty mild. So other than taking significantly longer than expected, like 5 times as long, it probably total took like 25 minutes in my stand mixer. It was super, super easy. For now, this is going in the fridge, and I will be back to you when we're ready to hopefully bake some bread. See you soon. I'm back and I have some bread that has risen a little bit. I'm not sure how much it's supposed to rise, but it definitely has risen. It looks pretty good if I'm honest. And I'm surprised about that because it sat in my fridge for 5 full days. So the next step is simply to get it into the oven. So my oven has been preheating to 450 and inside of my oven is my Dutch oven. And the recipe that I'm following says that I'm supposed to preheat my Dutch oven, quickly take it out, slide the bread in after I slash a couple vents in the top of it, and then put it right back in the oven at 450 and then bake it. So I am quickly losing light here this evening, and I know enough to know that one should never slice into warm bread. So I'm gonna get the bread in the oven and then come back to you tomorrow for the final slice. I hope it goes okay. This is a long process, but not that difficult of one. So let's do a couple of slashes into this bread to give it a place to vent. Very inelegant, even though I'm using a razor blade, which was the sharpest thing in my kitchen, but doesn't seem to work very well. So now I'm gonna pull my Dutch oven out, quickly take the lid off, put the bread in, put the lid back on, slide it back into the oven. Now she bakes. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow for the slice and let you know all about the baking process. Cross your fingers. It is officially the next day and our bread is baked and cooled. It looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with my first attempt. I will say, I gotta work a little bit more on how the bottom of the bread looks going forward. But for now, it feels pretty good. Nice crust, very, very crispy, feels hollow inside, which I think is what we're looking for. So I followed the instructions in the recipe that I will link below. And what told me ultimately when the bread was done is I actually inserted an instant read thermometer in it to make sure it came to the right temperature. I cooked it at that high heat the whole time, part of the time with the lid on, and then adjusted the lid off time just so I hit the 209 degrees that we wanted for the center of this bread. I took it out of the Dutch oven, tossed it on that rack, and it's been just sitting on my counter, covered in a tea towel overnight. And I've been smelling it since then. I figure we can use the butter that we also made yesterday to top our bread. I'm gonna do 1 piece toasted and 1 piece not toasted. The only other thing I have on my bench is a little bit of flaky Maldon salt that I'm gonna put on top since we didn't flavor the butter yesterday at all. So let's slice into this. Not bad, I think. I think it looks cooked pretty well. There's some bubbles on the inside, which is great. I made bread, and the proof will be in the pudding. I'm sure this will not be the best bread that has ever been made, but it looks pretty good. The crust, nice crispy crust. Smells like bread. Looks like bread. Let's get a piece toasted. Okay, and while we wait on that, let's try some of the butter on the bread. So this butter is cold right out of the fridge, so it's difficult to spread. That is a nice thick layer of butter, a little bit of salt. I think there are 2 types of people in this world. The type of people that love just a little smattering of butter, and then those that are like me that like to actually bite into some butter. I mean, if you're gonna eat butter, why not eat butter, right? Let's give it a taste. My first thought is this certainly isn't the best bread I've ever had, but it's definitely the best bread I've ever made. I don't think it was cooked long enough. I think it's still a little bit gummy, so the toasting will help a lot. The crust is nice and crisp. Even on the bottom, it's a nice crisp crust. I like the rise that we got from it. I think it's a little bit undercooked, even though I used an instant read thermometer. So maybe next time I'll have to take the temperature from a few different places. Let's see what it's like toasted. Ooh, that looks good. Nice and hot. This might be the ticket. Crispy. A little bit of salt, then we taste. So the butter, no real notes. I think it's great. I think the quality of the butter largely depends on the quality of the cream that you use. So you likely can play with the flavor of the butter depending on the cream that you get. I definitely would add some salt to the butter right before I put it into the fridge, which is not surprising. I knew that I was gonna make a very plain butter. I could even add some herbs. This is definitely a winner, very easy. I mean, people have known that for centuries. The bread, I would give a solid probably 6 out of 10. Toasted, it is really good. I think this loaf is going to be a toasted loaf for me. Slathered in butter with a little bit of flaky salt. Yes, please. But not toasted, I'm not sure. I don't think I cooked it long enough, which is interesting because I did use an instant read thermometer to take its temperature before I took it out of the oven. So next time I'm just gonna be more thoughtful about where I measure the temperature and maybe even leave it in a little bit longer than I did. I'm sure that that varies cook by cook, and the more familiar with bread, the more familiar I will be learning when to take it out of the oven. But I'll definitely make this recipe again. The recipe itself was quite easy. No kneading as advertised, just some time in the fridge. So if you've got some time before you want to have fresh bread, this would be one that I would recommend. Both recipes will be copied in the description box below. Thanks so much for spending your time with me while I faced some of my cooking fears. I hope it was fun watching me practice how to make bread. I know so many of you are so strong in the kitchen, and I would really love to hear from those of you that are experienced bakers. How do you know when your bread is done? What's your best tell? Do you use an instant read thermometer or some other method? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you liked this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more from me, please subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to seeing you here next time. Cheers.